I started climbing in June 2024 with no upper body strength. I had never done a pull up in my entire life, and I started climbing at 28 years old. I'm now 30. My reasons for started climbing, was having a little bit of a crisis, I guess. I had just had a breakup, and in addition to the relationship ending, I also had to give up on a plan of potentially moving out west and living closer to mountains and access to hiking and outdoorsy things like that. Being back in Minnesota for the rest of my life, I decided that I really wanted a chance to meet more people that would be into outdoorsy things like hiking and camping. I also thought that I just would genuinely enjoy climbing. I had gotten pretty into like hiking and mountain climbing when I was living in Montana for a few months. So I decided that climbing might scratch that same itch that you get when you're, scrambling up to a ridge on a mountain. I had also done a little bit of climbing in middle school and high school, and I really enjoyed that at the time, but I never got seriously into it when I was a kid. So I looked into gym memberships in my area and I decided to join the Bouldering Project. There's a bunch of them around the country. There's 2 in Minnesota now. And my main reason for joining that gym, as opposed to other ones, was that I saw on the website that they had a lot of classes, as well as a weekly, like kind of social climbing time. So I thought that would be a great opportunity to meet people, which was really my primary goal. So my first time at the gym was for an intro to bouldering class. I made one friend right away during that class. We climbed together a few times. She moved out of state after a couple months, but it was really helpful to have a friend to climb with, especially right at the beginning, because I think that's a challenging time because you feel really self-conscious. It's really hard. Like, it's harder than you think it's going to be in a lot of ways. You don't really know the culture of the gym yet, so it's kind of socially awkward and weird. She had been climbing longer. So that was also beneficial to me, was I had somebody to kind of show me what to do if I was struggling to figure something out. It's also kind of funny looking back because I thought she was so good because she could climb like V3, And now it's like, okay, well, the beginning stage of climbing is also really nice though, even though it's kind of awkward and intimidating to start. I think there's a lot of benefits and a lot of things I actually miss about being a new climber. You pretty much have no ego. You don't really have an expectation of what you should be able to do. So whenever you send a climb, it's always an accomplishment. Whereas now, if I flash like a couple V4s in a session, but I don't get anything else, I feel like really disappointed in myself. So I think you have to remind yourself of how far you've come and just try to capture that feeling of like still having the accomplishment. But the early wins at the beginning are so nice. You really make progress pretty quickly. You gain strength pretty quickly. You learn kind of basic techniques that help you a lot. I also think my gym does a really good job at setting interesting routes at a beginner level, so it's not super boring. You're actually learning kind of interesting techniques. You're doing things that are, maybe mentally challenging, if not physically challenging, which kind of helps you put yourself in those uncomfortable positions that will make you a better climber while you're working on building up your physical strength. One unique aspect of climbing is that fear is a huge component of it. And that's definitely true of a lot of other sports like skiing or like gymnastics. But the mental component in climbing is huge, and I don't think it ever really goes away. Like, I'm definitely still scared a good amount of the time. It's not fun to fall. It's not fun to fall unexpectedly. It's not fun to feel like you're going to fall, to feel like you're running out of strength and you can't make the next move. That's never a fun feeling to have. And it can feel really scary to put your body in unnatural positions. But with experience and just exposure to those positions, you really do start to like expand your comfort level, and things that used to feel really scary to me, now they don't faze me at all. So I think that's another really cool aspect of progression in climbing and something that you can lose sight of. And I think it's good that when you're a little further along in your climbing journey to still climb with people that are newer occasionally, because if anything, it can be helpful to like remind yourself of where you came from and be like, oh yeah, I remember when that used to be really scary or really difficult for me. I was climbing with someone new pretty recently, and she's only been climbing for like a few weeks, so she's like brand new. And I was trying to show her how to do like a heel hook because she had never done a heel hook before. And it wasn't like an intended beta heel hook. We were playing like elimination, so it was like a little bit of a funky heel hook for sure. I kind of showed her how to do it. She wanted to try it. And then she was like, you're just stronger than me. I'm not strong enough for that yet. And I think like a lot of people that have been climbing for a while tend to downplay that and be like, oh, that's not true. But it literally is. And I think that's a really important thing. So I was like honest with her. That's like, yeah, I've been climbing for a couple years. Like I have built a lot of strength, and it will take time to build that strength. And that is such a huge thing in climbing that I think people somewhat underestimate sometimes or don't think of compared to technique and stuff, is that just being literally stronger is huge. I think especially for women who sometimes are not as strong in their upper body when they start. You might not have as many of those early wins as people that have already been working out or are maybe naturally stronger in their upper body for whatever reason. So to build that strength while you climb, you suddenly get to a point where you're like, oh, I can stay on the wall for like a while and I don't have to feel like I'm going to immediately run out of strength. I can think through my next move. I can kind of get through the more mental component of it because I'm strong enough to actually stay on the wall while I figure out the next move. So that increases your confidence a lot when you're like, oh, I don't need to like rush because I can actually be here and hold myself here for a while. I would encourage people when they do talk to newer climbers to never like downplay that, because I think it's really easy to be like, oh, it's not strength. It's just technique, but strength is so important. It makes a huge difference. So in August of 2024, a couple months after I started climbing, I finally got the nerve to start going to Circuits, which is a weekly climbing class that my gym does. It's kind of an informal class. There's instructors, but it's sort of just like, get together and we'll do a different activity or focus on a different aspect of climbing for an hour, hour and a half together. After I'd been climbing for about 2 months, I finally was like, okay, I think I'm ready. I think I'm comfortable enough. I'm going to start going. I loved it immediately. I only wish that I had gone sooner. On my first time there, I met 3 people that are still my good friends to this day, which is very fun. I still enjoy solo climbing, but the weekly climbing time really held me accountable to continue going. And it was so fun to see my friends there that was like another motivation. If I didn't necessarily feel like climbing, at least I'm like, well, I want to see my friends, so I'll go. So the positive social atmosphere, I think, really helped me stick with climbing as long as I have. I also got a little more structured feedback about climbing technique. I got to climb with people who were a lot better than me. At the time that I started, I was probably like V1, V2 level climber. I was not strong. I still hadn't done a pull-up. I was struggling with technique and reading routes. I was struggling with putting myself in uncomfortable positions on the wall. So being able to climb with people who were more experienced was really helpful. And I think I grew a lot faster than I would have on my own. So to talk more specifically about my progress over time, as I alluded to, I have had noticeable strength and muscle mass gains just from climbing, really. I mean, I do a little bit. I mean, I don't really lift. I wouldn't say I lift because I don't do it consistently. Maybe once a month I'll like lift some weights, but it's mostly climbing. So I had never done a pull-up, as I said, including in elementary school for like the national fitness test or the presidential fitness test. George W. Bush made us do that back in the day. After 6 months of climbing, though, I went up to a bar and I tried it and I was like, oh, I can do pull-ups now. That's pretty cool. I've never done a pull-up before. So my arms and shoulders, they just look stronger. A lot of friends and family have commented on how how muscly I look now. One time my aunt kind of like grabbed my arm through my shirt and she went, whoa. And another time I was at a concert and I was like holding a drink like kind of like this, like my arm was bent. And I'm trying to like flex for the camera, but I was holding it like this or whatever. As I'm walking past, this girl behind me shouts, "Girl, do you lift?" And I said, "No, I just rock climb." So it's fun. I'll do a little casual arm lift, look at my muscles, look at my muscles. Whenever I like put an earring in, I'm like, damn, who is she? Who is she? Look at that. Crazy. Needless to say, I've really enjoyed having more muscle, the way it looks, the way it feels. I enjoy it a lot more than I thought I would. I didn't think I would be into it. It's like the one thing that makes me kind of want to start lifting more, because I do actually really enjoy the feeling of having like a nice thick arm, like holds my bicep for comfort type of thing. It's fun. One other comment about this, my friend Emma, who I met through climbing, she said one time, "Jenny, you look so much stronger now. Do you have any pictures of you from before you started climbing?" And I was like, "No, Emma, I don't have any pictures of me from before I was 28 years old." She does not like that story, but that was so funny. Climbing has also motivated me to do some other workouts. I've started doing yoga once a week. Started doing hot yoga once in a while, other fitness classes that my gym offers. It's really helpful to have the goal and the consistency of wanting to be better at climbing to be sort of a goal that carries me through my other fitness goals, like wanting to lift more, wanting to do more pull-ups, wanting to stretch and be more flexible. I think it also like prevents my baseline from falling all the way back down to zero, because that's definitely a problem I've had in the past with trying to work out consistently, is that I just get bored, I kind of lose interest. But with climbing, I haven't lost interest in that, so it's at least like I'll maintain like a level of fitness from just climbing, and then every once in a while I'll get like really into like, stretching a lot or doing other specific exercises, and I'll maybe kind of go up from the baseline, but at least I just go back down to the climbing baseline instead of not working out at all. I'm still climbing, 3-4 hours a week. So I still have a pretty high level of fitness that I'm maintaining just from climbing, just because I love it. Exercise is so cool. Have you guys heard that exercising makes you feel really good, like physically and mentally? And to find something that you actually enjoy doing for its own sake makes all the difference in the world. That's what you have to do, I think, if you really want to be consistent at working out without having to have discipline. I don't have discipline. I climb because I like to and because my friends are there and it's fun, There's no discipline involved, but because I enjoy it, I'm also like in way better shape than I ever have been. I've also noticed I have a lot less joint pain since I started climbing. I used to have some pretty bad wrist pain in my right wrist and hand. That has pretty much gone away at this point. I think it was due mostly to using my computer, using my phone. It really started getting bad in 2020 when using my computer and using my phone were like the only things that I did for like 4 straight months. So my wrist used to feel better if I would get rest, if I would get time away from the computer, if I would do, physical therapy exercises for a while or whatever, those things like that you do for that, all that shit. So I got into that for a while, but I just wasn't motivated enough to keep up with doing like boring little exercises. You know what I mean? Like as soon as it stopped hurting, I would stop doing the exercises and then it would inevitably come back again because I hadn't actually strengthened my wrist or solved the problem. Through climbing, my hand and my wrist has gotten a lot stronger, and it stays a lot stronger because I keep climbing, I keep exercising it. That's been huge for me as well, to just no longer have that problem. Now for progress in terms of my actual climbing. How hard am I climbing? What level am I at? So my gym uses color-coded circuits instead of V grades, but you can find out the actual V grade of any specific climb through the app Kaya, so I do know what specific grade I have sent, but the color circuits still carry a lot of significance when you climb at that gym. Like, that's still kind of the way people will talk about it, to be like, oh, I got my first blue, or I got my first black, or ooh, he climbs whites, you know, like that's more how you talk about things rather than the V grade, I guess. But since the V grade is more universal, or it is universal, I will kind of use that to talk about my progress. So I got my first V5 in March 2025, so that's 9 months after I started climbing. However, I did not get another V5 until like July of the same year. So I would say it really took me more like a year to really actually get into that V5 level where I was climbing them more consistently. So now that I'm nearing the 2-year mark, I'm recording this, I'm still about a month out. So maybe if I hit V6 by the end of June, I'll do an update. But I'm nearing the 2-year mark. I have not achieved my first V6. No. But I try to think back about where I started and how much I've grown, and that I really didn't expect to get this far to begin with. So, you know, I've already achieved a lot. And you got to keep that perspective sometimes. And it's not like I'm going to be a professional climber. So I try to just focus on enjoying it for what it's worth and enjoying the progress that I've made and staying, you know, positive about that progress, because it is impressive how far I've come. And a lot of people that have climbed as long as I have not reached the level that I'm at as well. So it's not like I'm way behind or anything. I'm doing really well. I tell myself, I try to convince myself. I had a rough climbing session this week but I try to keep in mind, like, okay, I flashed a few V4s. Yeah, I didn't get like the V5 that I was working on, but to flash like a couple V4s in one session, that would have been a really huge deal a year ago. So let's just keep that in mind. It's all perspective. Another fun aspect of my climbing progress is feeling like I have found a specific style of climbing that I really enjoy and that I tend to excel at, which is slab. So slab climbing is a controversial style of climbing where the wall is angled at greater than 90 degrees. So less than vertical. If this is the wall, it's vertical. It's like that, you're climbing here. Rather than, you know, that would be steep terrain, vertical, slab, right? Okay, so this might seem easier, right? But in order to keep it interesting, you're usually given very, very tiny footholds and handholds, sometimes no handholds at all. So slab climbing, therefore, requires a lot of balance, a lot of precision. It's less dependent on pure upper body strength, although it can still require a lot of lower body strength, and flexibility is really helpful. When I was new to climbing, I didn't enjoy slab. It can feel quite insecure since you have less to hold on to. It also feels like if you fall, that you're going to kind of face plant and skid down the wall and scrape your shins, which is called cheese grating. Cheese grating is a psyop to turn you against the beautiful slab. Don't listen to the haters. So what happened to me was basically I binge watched all of Anna Hazelnut's YouTube videos in like January 2025, and I decided to gaslight myself into enjoying slab. And it worked. It really did work. I think just having a mindset shift of being like, slab isn't scary, it's cool, and it's fun, and it's challenging in interesting ways. Having that mindset shift really did help, and I try to encourage new climbers to not have any preconceived notions about what's scary, what's not scary, what's hard, what's easy, to just try it all and try to have an open mind and think about everything as like a challenge. You probably will find that you enjoy some things more than others, but I think when you're just starting, it's really helpful to keep an open mind, because I definitely spent some time not trying as much slab because I had an idea of it as being scary. It still can be scary. Like a hard slab climb is very scary a lot of the time. But it's the same thing where your comfort level continues to grow the more and more you try it and the more you realize what you're capable of and how it feels, you'd be surprised how things just don't feel scary anymore. The more you climb slab, you'll also find that like falling on slab is usually no worse than any other kind of falling while climbing. Most of the time when you fall on slab, it's going to be because your center of gravity was too far away from the wall. So therefore, you're going to fall backwards away from the wall. You're not going to fall into the wall and like skid down. That's just not usually how it happens. If you do have a foot slip and fall into the wall, at least you can rest assured that you were trusting your feet. And, you know, it kind of feels good in a way to have like a really bad slab fall because you're like, it wasn't that I didn't believe, because I really did believe. One time I banged up my shin so badly on the slab climb that I got really lightheaded and I felt like I was going to throw up, but that's neither here nor there. Another time on a slab climb, I was doing like a little kind of frog squat over a volume. So my feet were on like either side of this triangle shaped volume, like so. And then one of my feet slipped and it went like right into between my legs. And it hurt so bad. And also was not even the right beta. I was truly just like fucking around. So unfortunate. If you approach the wall with love and openness, it will embrace you in return. Also, a tip for female climbers: it can be frustrating if you climb with a lot of men, especially men in their early 20s, because often they're just going to have an upper body strength advantage compared to you. And when they start climbing, when they start working out, they're going to see gains a lot faster than you will, probably. I have this one friend who's 7 years younger than me or so, and we started climbing around the same time, and we were really at the same level. We had kind of a different style. Like I liked slab more, he liked overhang more, but we were really like at the same level. Then he started getting crazy gains and now he's strong as fuck. So that was frustrating. But even though he can climb V7 in the cave, I feel like he still doesn't know what to do on a V2 slab. So that's fun for me. You know, I need that. I think the playing field just gets leveled a little bit with slab. If you feel like you have a disadvantage in strength, whether it's upper body strength, maybe finger strength or grip strength, you'll probably be able to punch above your weight with slab. And I think that's really fun because it just feels good to be able to do something that someone who's usually better at you can't do. You know what I mean? Sometimes your ego just needs like one of your dude friends, one of your boulder bro friends to not be able to establish on like a V3 slab, and then you just flash it and you're like, what's your problem? Why can't you do this? It's so easy. I love slab because of the funky movements, how delicate and technical it can be, and the fact that it's generally not as exhausting. I can try a slab project over and over again in one session and not wear myself out, whereas on something more overhung, I'll get exhausted too quickly to try it more than a handful of times per session. And I have on a hazelnut slab is sexy sticker on my Subaru. I love being a stereotype. My gym hosts an informal bouldering league competition a few times a year, and I have participated twice with my friends. Once was starting in January 2025 and another season starting in June of the same year. In both competitions, I competed in the intermediate level, which was purple, orange, and black at my gym. So that could be anywhere from V2 to V6, which is a pretty huge range. The first season, I did extremely poorly. And my team overall was doing bad. And for the last 2 weeks of the competition, I switched to the beginner level instead. We didn't have a shot at winning, and I wanted to enjoy myself, so I switched. I didn't totally enjoy the first season because I was having such a hard time, and I think just like competing is not something I really like. I don't really like the pressure, and I don't really like having to perform under pressure. People are definitely supportive. Like it wasn't anybody's fault but mine. I was just having a hard time. Like if you go up to a climb and you can't even establish or you can't even do the first move and you just have to walk away, it feels bad in a competition environment. That's just not the most fun thing. The second season, however, was way, way better. I was in the same category, but I had 6 months more of climbing experience, and my team actually won. We had a larger team as well, which helped since only the top 4 scores from your team would count each week. So you basically just had more chances of getting a better scorecard all around. But I personally also did way better. It was like night and day. There were 2 weeks when I was able to top all 5 boulders in my category, which was so exciting. One week I almost got 5 flashes. One of them took 2 attempts, but I was close to getting 5 flashes. Another week I actually had a lot more attempts, but I felt more proud of myself for that week because the climbs were a lot more challenging. So I had to put in a lot more work. I think only 1, maybe 2 were a flash, and the rest of them all took 3 attempts, or even as many as I think one took 12 attempts or something, but I got it, and that was a huge accomplishment, and I was very, very proud. So I came away feeling a lot better about how I personally performed, and I had a lot of fun with my friends. There were themes every week to dress up in costumes, which was very fun, and then winning was awesome. That was a cherry on top. We got these really cool custom chalk bags as part of our prize. I haven't done league again since the punishment for winning is that you have to go up a category if you enter again, because they try to not have the same teams win every single time, which is fair. So I would have to enter in advanced, which is black, blue, and pink. So V4 through V8. And that would absolutely destroy me since my top grade is still V5 at this point. I wouldn't stand a chance and I'd probably cry. But even just dressing up in the costumes would be fun, so I should do it again sometime. My friends keep saying that we should do it again, but we just haven't really pulled the trigger on actually committing to it. So I started exploring outdoor climbing and top rope climbing more last year. I'm planning to do more this year. It's the spring now, so I haven't gone out yet for outdoor climbing, but hoping to go soon and often. Outdoor bouldering is super challenging and a lot riskier than gym climbing, so I don't push myself very hard, but it's still fun to just be outside on a nice day, climbing with friends, sometimes making up your own routes since the V1 in the guidebook is too hard. When I look to the future, I hope that climbing will be a lifelong sport for me. I've been really active the past 2 years, climbing 2 to 3 times a week. That level of commitment may not be sustainable, but it's my main form of exercise, so I try to keep up the habit. I want to continue to get stronger and climb harder grades, of course. It's really hard to not continually kind of reset those goals for yourself and to be like, I need to get stronger. I need to climb V6. I need to be better. So while I try to not put too much pressure on myself and not be upset if I don't meet those goals, I definitely want to get to V6. And I think that it's very possible for me, even if I don't change a lot in what I'm doing right now, because I can definitely tell in the past year how hard a V5 used to feel. It's changed, it still depends on the style and other components, but I've flashed a handful of V5s. I'm certainly at that level where I just think it will probably naturally happen pretty soon, even if I don't really hit the training regimen hard, which honestly, I don't really want to. I kind of just want to keep climbing for fun and take my progress as it comes, gradually. It's been going pretty well so far. I do feel like I've improved at a decent level, even though I haven't trained super, super hard. I also kind of want to bulk up more, so I've been trying to do more pull-ups after every climbing session. Just go and knock out 10 pull-ups, not consecutively. The most I can do consecutively is 6 or 7, but just to try to do pull-ups after every climbing session to just get a little stronger, get a little more muscly, work on my beach bod. But at the end of the day, the friendships really help me keep coming back. I have friends from climbing who I have traveled with. I've hiked and camped with them, and I continue to make new connections regularly. The gym has really become a true third space for me. It's not free to be a member, obviously. I pay my membership annually, and it comes out to be about $70 a month. So it's not incredibly cheap, but for the value that I get out of it, it's incredibly worth it. I get exercise, I get a hobby that I really enjoy. I've made like 30 friends. That's not even an exaggeration. I've made a lot of friends from climbing. Seeing each other once or twice a week at the gym also ensures that we make plans to do things outside of the gym together. Like for instance, tomorrow we're just going to an art festival in Minneapolis together. So it's that kind of thing where it's like, oh, like next weekend, you guys want to do this? Or, oh, we should go see a movie together. You know, like little things like that, that when you have these connections that you see regularly at a time that nobody has to schedule, it's just like, okay, 7 p.m. on Tuesdays or 7 p.m. on Thursdays, that's the time. If you're really struggling with making friends, like joining a climbing gym, I mean, it worked really well for me. I can't say it'll work really well for everyone, but I think it's a good cheat code. I also hope to get more into outdoor climbing. I want to do more top rope climbing outside as well, since that is a lot safer and kind of opens up the level of difficulty that you can do with outdoor climbing, since you're not gonna fall, basically. That's it. That's where I'm at with climbing right now after 2 years. I'm really grateful for it. I guess I'm just making vlogs now. I don't know. I kind of wanted to make a video and collect a bunch of videos that I have of myself climbing from over the past 2 years and put them together. I thought that would be a fun project. And I have maybe a couple other completely unrelated little videos that I might like to make. Maybe I'll just start vlogging. Would that be crazy? Should I start vlogging? This is my new condo, by the way. I bought this almost a year ago, and that's your preview for the next video that I want to make is all about my condo and the interior design that I've been working on, you know, decorating it, making it look nice, cool. Wait, my display is mirrored, so that was the wrong finger. Cool lamps that I got from the vintage store. That'll be the next video, probably. Thanks for watching. You can subscribe if you want.